So listen, one of the things that we always promise every single person out there that watches our channel, because from day one, we just want to provide content, provide education, and really treat each and every one of you as if you're the super wealthy, right? So at the end of the day, it comes down to, okay, the super wealthy seem to have all the different planners on the same page, or at least that's what we think they do, these family fractional offices, whatever the case may be. I always talk about the accountant being on the same page as the attorney or the estate attorney or the trust officer or the insurance agent or the fiduciary, CFP, whatever the case may be. And by the way, these are moving targets. Nothing is like, hey, yeah, this is my team and it's going to be that way 7 years later, right? So there's always an important understanding of a checkup from the neck up. Very clear, you got to be able to understand how to do that. And today what we're going to really kind of dig into on a high level, because we can't get specific, and remember, I'm not a fiduciary, although we have relationships with fiduciaries. And at the end of the day, we want to kind of get into what the transfers of wealth or your wealth may and could look like with proper planning. Okay, so listen, when it comes to sales and marketing, there's always all different strategies, and you out there every single day are exposed on a minute-to-minute basis, whether it's your friends, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, all the different social media platforms. Somebody or something is always trying to sell you something, and there's tools of persuasion, and one of them is authority. So Investopedia is an authority. When people want to learn something about any kind of financial product and or definition, they go to Investopedia. But remember, language is everything, right? So if I look at Investopedia's very long definition, and there's a lot of hooks and ladders in there, by the way, of what a family foundation is, and remember, this is about transferring wealth, because you don't want Uncle Sam to take all your hard-earned money. But for you, someone new out there, we're going to talk family foundation and go to the highest person that we know out there, right? Is every single person going to be worth 100, 2, 3, 4, $500 million, $1 billion? No. But this is what a family foundation definition looks like, and it's a family charitable foundation can provide unique benefits to both the charities it supports and any family members who direct the foundation's activities, but private family foundations are subject to complex tax regulations, which if violated can result in steep tax penalties and even revocation of the foundation's tax-exempt status. Let me ask you a question. Do you think, and when we look at who they're talking about here, do you think that Bill and Melinda Gates planners are or are not on the same page? And by the way, do you think that it's always the same people, or are there people that are taken off and other people put on, right? So it's constantly moving. So Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation, which is a private charity, they are going through a divorce, so I don't know how that plays into this, but they control how contributions are invested and how grants are made. So I don't know Bill Gates or Melinda. Yeah, I don't know her either, but I do suspect that when they do put money out there to make the world a better place, at least from their perspective, I know there's conspiracy people out there that think that he's part of the shots when it comes to COVID, and they're trying to shrink the population. We hear that all the time. Bill, I'm not saying that, brother. Do your thing, but I'm not saying it. I just don't know. I'm just some guy from Bayonne that just provides educational videos every day. But with that being said, I do believe they care where the money goes, right? And when you build out, such a massive amount of wealth, you do want to make sure that when husband and wife eventually pass away, that the government doesn't get the money and it goes to places where you want the money to be used better. Because I think if one thing has kind of shown its face over the years, at least here in America since 1913, is money that is taxed is not money that is used properly. And I think back in the day when we had the taxation without representation, the Boston Tea Party, was specifically because of that. So when we talk about wealth transfers, this is number one. So look, let's talk about wealth transfer number two. I like this one. Not that I didn't like the other one, but this isn't, you don't have to be the wealthiest person in the world to take advantage of this. And it's called charitable giving, CRT, which is a charitable remainder trust. It's a tax-exempt, irrevocable trust, means once you start it, you can't pull it back. designed to reduce the taxable income of individuals by first dispersing income to the beneficiaries of the trust for a specified period of time, and then number two, donating the remainder of the trust to the designated charity. Okay, let's play with this one because this is important. And by the way, I did a video on TikTok and people went bananas. They got so mad at me. This is not meant to trigger anybody. But at the end of the day, you got to really understand what things look like and how taxes work. And I think that when you look at this, I love the fact that, you know, you could still benefit the charity that's true to your heart and be able to take advantage of the tax benefits on other products that you own. So here's my example. And as we play through this, it's important you understand I'm going to just use general numbers. I'm not going to be specific because I don't know what tax law is going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, real estate values or insurance policies. But here's something you should think about. If you are wealthy enough and you own real estate. So let's say you're 65 and you have $3 million in a 401k, right? And let's say you have $3 million in rental real estate or commercial real estate. I'm just going to keep the numbers balanced. And at the end of the day, you know, if you're smart, that you're $3 million in the 401k. So stay with me on this video because I'm giving you some high-level strategy planning right now that, by the way, I'm not a fiduciary. Call your accountant and validate everything I'm saying and double check everything at all times. With that being said, $3 million 401k, $3 million inside of real estate. We know that if we take money out of a 401k, we're going to get taxed at ordinary income. And we know if we wait, they're going to force us to take it out at age 72, right? So there's some folks out there that are very wealthy that have a lot of real estate and money in a 401k, and they try and play the game of, you know, like stretching the 401k or taking the least amount as possible. The truth is that is exposed to so many different things. I'm talking about the 401k as time goes on, whether it's taxes, fees, lost opportunity cost, as well as sequence of return rate risk on everything I just mentioned. However, double check everything I say. Now, $3 million in real estate, $3 million in 401k, right? The real estate's producing rental income. So if you put the real estate into a charitable remainder trust, right, CRT, you lose the ownership of that real estate, right? However, and the rental income that comes off of that. However, in that trust, you could take 5, 10, 20 years of money from the trust based on the value of that real estate. At the same time, once you put that real estate inside the trust, you get a tax benefit that could kind of match up, not dollar for dollar, to what your taxes would be on the distribution of your 401k. So I'm not saying this is a way of making your 401k tax-free. What I am saying is strategic planning will allow tax benefits to offset the tax liability on a 401k distribution if all your planners are on the same page. But if you're listening to what I'm saying, you're saying, Rob, that's great, but that real estate is no longer in the world for my children 20, 30, 40 years from now. And I'm saying you're right. However, what if there was a way to get the replacement cost of that real estate by using the strategy savings from the tax benefits as well as the distributions itself on the charity or the charitable remainder trust, and you purchased in a wealth replacement trust cash value life insurance? Because what would happen there is eventually when you shuffle off this mortal coil, pass away, that's what Shakespeare used to say. I didn't even know that. It's another story for another day. And when you do shuffle off this mortal coil, you and your surviving spouse eventually, you'll be able to recapture the value of that real estate because it'll be in the form of a death benefit vis-a-vis the wealth replacement trust. So your kids, which you took 40, 50 years to build this real estate wealth, when you're both gone, they may sell the real estate within 9 months and burn everything down as within a much shorter period of time of what you put together. And what the insurance does is allows that money to come from the most tax efficient way to your heirs because they may not want to own real estate. And while you were alive, you received tax benefits that had you not done proper planning, you never would have got. So that's just a little something to think about. Once again, you got a high level planning, get all the people in place, but it's a way to really maximize not only life insurance, but maximize how to use a trust in a way to kind of put more money back into your pocket where it belongs, so you can make an impact on the world and make it an even better place. Yeah, so listen, Investopedia, once again, authority, life insurance trust, right? The definition is an insurance trust is an irrevocable trust set up with a life insurance policy as an asset, allowing the grantor of the policy to exempt assets away from his or her blah, 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 blah. I'm sure you're bored. I'm reading it, I'm bored. I'm hearing an alarm outside. All kinds of chaos is happening around me. Here's the point. If you get the right people around you, they could take all this information and bring it to you at your dinner table and be able to explain how to use real estate, how to use a 401k, how to use life insurance inside a trust, so you can maximize your money, put money back into your pocket where it belongs, and live the life that you deserve. So far we've reviewed 3 wealth transfer strategies. And remember, I kind of feel like there's a lot of folks that do what we do here at Epic Financial Strategies that come up and say some really wonderful things. But I got to tell you, man, I'm not sure if they have a 20, 25 person team behind them. I haven't seen it yet. And by the way, if you do, I'm not knocking you, but prove it, because I know we do. And what do I mean by that is if somebody's going to come and click the link below and look for a consultation or a free education, or learn about our financial freedom map, or learn about the book that we released, or learn about anything when it comes to integration and coordination, I assure you we're going to be able to speak to the importance of all the professionals getting on the same page. And I firmly believe we are the group that knows how to take you from a phone call and or an email through a success process. I'm not really sure if the other folks out there can do that, maybe 1 or 2 off, but certainly not 400 or 500, 600 people a month like we can. With that being said, number 4 is gifting. Gifts made to spouses who are U.S. citizens to political organizations for use by the organization and for medical and tuition-related expenses on behalf of the recipient are excluded from the gift tax. There's a lot there. Basically, for 2019 and 2020, the annual gift exclusion was $15,000 per recipient. All right, folks, listen, I'm going to keep this real simple and give you an example. Think of a married couple with 4 children. And because of gifting, and this means removing money from the estate later on, mom and dad to each child can give $15,000 each per year. So that means each kid can get $30,000. And it could happen every year. Now, because we live in a world that all the messaging is based on linear numbers, but any kind of strategies is based on exponential concepts, this 15,000 can be a number that goes higher or lower based on where we're at in the future. What I do know, in 2021 it's at 15, but it does in 2022 go up to 16. But always remember, I don't know when you're going to see this video. It could be next week. Could be in 2 years, it doesn't really matter. Always double check and validate what I'm saying for your own benefit. So look, we went over 4, and in the 4 we did mention life insurance as one of the example strategies when it came to a charitable remainder trust. But some people don't have trusts, right? Some people just have life insurance. And life insurance is something, if it's done properly, locks into the future, let's call it wealth of what somebody may have, especially if you're in the wealth accumulation phase right now. So when we look at life insurance, in our experience, the most efficient is life insurance, because especially if there's a husband and wife and, one of them passes away, shuffles off this mortal coil, Billy Shakespeare style, the surviving spouse gets this tax-free, right? Now, the death of the second spouse is what really triggers the estate tax. But if you're looking to understand life insurance as the ability to spend money down in life and use it as a replacement, you always want to make sure there's the right kind of plan. I'm going to tell you one quick story. A couple of years back, I started working with some really good thought leaders in this business, and they started to educate me on certain type of life insurance strategies. And in this scenario, it was a premium finance strategy. But during that time, they brought in a specialist that understood how to sell life insurance. And really what he was an estate attorney. And the truth be told, I'm not even going to give a name. What he was bringing, at least in my opinion, was financial malpractice. And hear what I'm going to say right now. But that's what he was taught, so I'm not mad at him. But I'm glad I stuck with the courage of my own conviction. So this gentleman was telling me that the couple we were going to go meet, we should do a second to die policy, right? And this is why it's always important to get opinions. And it's always important that if you're going to give varying opinions, you put the people together and let them talk it out. The second to die means a husband and wife buy a policy, and the death benefit comes when the second spouse dies for the sole purposes of paying the estate taxes. So when I brought this case to this specialist, that's what he proposed to me. But I called my private coach on the side. I said, boom, 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 told him the whole story. And he goes, what? Tell him what you want to do, go do it, and you could still let him be part of it if he understands who you are. So I did exactly that. Long story endless, we purchased a premium finance policy for my client that not only owned a transportation company, but north of 180 pieces of real estate in 3 or 4 different states. And lo and behold, this guy was very healthy, beautiful soul, one of my mentors. COVID hits, although this wasn't what caused him to shuffle off this mortal coil, but because of COVID, 2 things were happening. People weren't paying rent, and the transportation company he owned, there was no schools open, so they weren't using buses to take kids to school. During COVID, he did pass away unexpectedly. And had I done the second to die policy, his wife would not have received a check. I'm not going to give a number, but I'm going to tell you it was north of 6 figures plus, right? I say that because, not that I'm bragging, but one of the greatest feelings, and there was so much emotional turmoil over this, one of the greatest feelings to know was that the family financially didn't have to skip a beat. And by the way, this family unit is very tough. What I mean by that is they're connected, they're together, they understand the value of money, they understand what relationships mean. And for any of you advisors out there or agents, you want to make sure that your relationship with your clients, there's a full understanding of who they are, what their roles and responsibilities are. And when I look at wealth transfer number 5, my client's wife is still alive. She now owns the business. She now owns the real estate. She hasn't skipped a beat financially, and it's been almost 1.5 years, since the passing, and not a dollar's been taken out of what we've created. And that is one of the greatest feelings of fulfillment that I've ever felt in my life. So I think for you out there, you don't have to be worth $1 million, 5, 10, 20 million to start thinking about and understanding what this is, because I do believe in intentionality. And if you're an entrepreneur and you really create your own financial strategies and mindset, eventually, if you start researching this now, you will be so well off that you're going to have to exercise one of these strategies. Anyway, thanks for checking in. Go ahead and click the link below. If you have any questions or comments, add them below. If there's any videos that you want us to shoot, please say so. And at the end of the day, I want to thank you for constantly checking into our channel. Every day we provide education. We're looking to serve any way we can. And when it's all said and done, it's always important to get all your planners on the same page for your benefit. Hey, listen, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. And by the way, check out this video over here.